thank you for taking your time out of your day, morning, whatever, to listen to this. So, first and foremost, I want to welcome everyone to the Don't Know What to Talk About, Let's Talk About Wrestling podcast. My name is Celeste, and I'll be your host for this podcast, pretty much the captain of this ship. And if you can't tell, this podcast will strictly be about wrestling. I have loved it for so many years. Mind you, I'm only 19. I am currently a student at the University of Arkansas in Monticello, currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in communications. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to get to where I need to be, and that's where I want to be, I would say. And that's to one day become a creative writer for the WWE, because I feel like, I don't feel like I'm the greatest writer, but I do try my best at it to just to be different. So that's the goal. The goal is to one day be able to get to the WWE, not necessarily become a wrestler. Although, I actually, when I was younger, I did actually used to wrestle with my stuffed animals in my room. But the wrestling has never been the dream. I mean, you would think so since I watch it so much, because I literally live, breathe, talk wrestling any chance I get. Like, I'm telling you, when somebody mentions WWE, like, my head perks up and I'm just like, I'm excited to talk about it. And I talk about it with such passion just because I simply love wrestling. But yeah, that's the goal, guys. The goal is to one day be able to get to the WWE and become a creative writer. And basically, what the creative writer does is you get with all these people on the team, because even now they do have creative writers. They've had them for a very, very long time. Everybody will get together in a room, because there are documentaries on this. They recently, not too long ago, maybe a few months ago, I want to say around maybe March, April, they recently dropped a WWE on Real documentary. And there were about 5-6 episodes. I of course ended up watching every one, and it basically took you behind the scenes of what it is that wrestling is like how it operates, pretty much. So you have like cues, timings, gorilla position, which is basically a position in the bag named after a wrestler from a long time ago who passed away. And they call that the gorilla position. It's literally right when the superstar walks through the curtain. And you probably you're probably wondering how I know that. It's like, because, well, like I said, it was revealed in the documentary. So the documentary itself, with the 5 to 6 episodes, it was very enlightening. You definitely got a different perspective. And I feel like much more of a respect for what it is that the wrestlers do. Because yes, there tend to be conversations about, oh, wrestling is fake. Well, yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. But I wouldn't use the word fake. I don't like that word. And there's a reason why I don't like that word, but we're not going to delve too much into that. But it simply entertains me. That's what it is. World Wrestling Entertainment. It is for entertainment purposes only, and that it does. It does in fact entertain, because I know most people from years ago who have tuned out of wrestling simply because they found out that it was, quote unquote, I'll use not real. But to me, I feel like you can say the same thing with movies. They're not real, but they still entertain you, That's just, I feel like that's an analogy that, if you think about it, it's not really any different. But for WWE, for me, it's for entertainment. And it gets me off my feet. And It gives you that exciting feeling. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's definitely, there's a lot of adrenaline going into PLEs where they do on weekends and everything like that. But guys, quick background story. So the reason I even got into wrestling in the first place was initially because of my papa. That's the only reason I got into the wrestling. I believe the first person that I ever saw wrestle, because back then we had this small TV. It was a Sony TV. It was a box TV. I'm not that old. I told you I'm 19. I was born in 2005, okay? So, there was this box TV, and I remember sitting on the floor. Either I was sitting on the stool or I was sitting on the floor. Either way, I guess you could say I was still sitting on the floor. But I was watching, I believe the first wrestler I ever saw was Edge. And then I believe he was in the ring with Vicky Guerrero. Maybe Theodore Long, former SmackDown general manager. And maybe Dolph Ziggler. At least that's the core memory I have. And then there's also another core memory that I have, and that was when Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston. That may have been a replay, because now that I think back on that may be a replay. I don't remember if I actually saw that match, but it was on a Christmas day, if I'm not mistaken. And you're probably wondering how I could even think back that far. I don't even know. But mind you, I was like maybe 4, 5 years old at the time. So, yeah, I was pretty young when I first got into it. And it's just like, when I first saw it, I don't really know what my initial thought was. I guess you could say what the typical experience is for a person when they see wrestling for the very first time. I thought it was cool. I thought it was nothing like I had ever seen before. For a 4 or 5-year-old little girl, I never saw anything like that before. And it's crazy because I never thought that I would be getting into it like this as much as I am now. Because I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with it, but whenever the opportunity presents itself to talk about wrestling, I will do just that. Even if that means sitting down and having an entire conversation with you guys about it via podcast. So to me, this is great. This is great. This is my passion. This is what I love to talk about. And it's crazy because, like I said, I never envisioned myself to be as invested into the wrestling business that I am now, whether that be behind the scenes. Because really, if you think about it, just put things in perspective, a lot of work goes into wrestling. Injuries get sustained from superstars. So that's what basically, to me, that is what that Unreal documentary showed. That's what it showcased, in my opinion, because it gives you a different perspective, a different respect for what it is that the wrestlers do, because they put in a lot of work, whether people believe it or not. Like, yeah, it may not seem real, but if you were to compare what wrestlers do into the ring, I would say it's more so like dancing, because they do choreograph their matches. And that is so amazing to me, because this again goes back to the work that gets put in to wrestling when you see it all play out in front of your eyes. I mean, it's not real. It's for entertainment purposes. That's it. World Wrestling Entertainment. But a lot of work goes into it, more than what people realize. Like, yeah, it may seem that way in the third, but there's a lot of work that goes into it, whether people realize that or not. And that's why I feel like, you don't have to like it, but I feel like with that aspect of things, you have to at least respect it, because it's a lot of work, days and months out of the year, that goes into a single wrestling show, whether that be a regular wrestling show, house show, PLE shows, premium live event shows. A lot of work goes into it. A lot of everybody just gets together and just does their thing, and they do it well. Not all the time, because there are some things that are often questionable in wrestling that make you want to scratch your head sometimes, especially now. But it's okay. It's okay. So let's get into essentially what this podcast will be covering. So you know the story about all of that and how I first got introduced to wrestling. My papa. And I want to thank him for that, because that's probably about the only sports entertainment show I even watch. I don't watch football like that. I don't watch basketball like that. But I do watch wrestling. And that is probably the only sports I will ever watch. Because I feel like I'm one of those fans who will just never, ever really get tired of WWE. Like, you know, there was a low point. But we've gotten past that, thank goodness. But, yeah, shout out to my papa, because he was one of the main reasons I really wanted to start this podcast in the first place. Besides the fact that I really love wrestling, so that was another reason. Another thing I want to really get into is pretty much what you will expect out of this podcast going forward after this very first episode. So a lot of the things, there are no specific things that I will cover, because there will be a variety of things, I feel like. So I cannot just give you specifics, because we could talk all day about the future of wrestling and where it could possibly go. We could talk about the past. We have eras like the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, which most people are probably aware of. The Attitude Era, I want to say, was from about 97 to the year 2000, 2001, maybe 2002. PG Era, which from what I understand, or from what I've observed, there have been a lot of people who tuned in around that time, because John Cena was a real big deal. Has been for a long time now. So, like I said, this podcast will cover a variety of topics, all revolving around wrestling, whether that be the future, past, present, now. Hot takes, maybe, thoughts, opinions, you know, all those different things that we will cover when being here with me in this podcast. So, the release schedule, as far as that goes, I will be posting every 2 weeks. So, you're getting this first episode now. And again, I want to thank everyone who is taking the time out of their morning, night, or evening, day, whatever, to listen to this, because it really means a lot to me, because I have so much passion for wrestling. And I know I've probably said that about 20 times already since the beginning of this episode, but it's just a everlasting love for me, I feel like, and that I'll never be one of those people who give up on wrestling, no matter how mad sometimes it makes me get, because like I said, this company does tend to make you scratch your head a little bit on booking decisions about the booker, especially who's in charge now. Since we had a transition, but we'll get off into that eventually. But yeah, the release schedule as far as the episodes are concerned for this podcast will be every 2 weeks. So I hope you guys grab your popcorn, drinks, whatever, going forward. And I really hope that you all will enjoy this podcast, because I've actually been looking forward to this for a few weeks now. So I'm just glad that we're finally here and that we're able to do this, and we're able to do this all together. As far as the podcast structure, like I said, we'll be covering a variety of topics. Interviewees, will I do interviews? it's a possible chance. I could eventually have my papa join in on the conversation. The man who essentially got me into wrestling probably could do via phone call. So that'll be cool. I think that would be cool if I did that. If I just came on the podcast, maybe did a little phone call for you guys, and you could honestly just sit up here and listen to me and my papa talk about wrestling. Because honestly, yes, we do tend to get into it about certain things. Not get into it, not bad, but there are often disagreements that we have in wrestling. We're human. We all have disagreements about things and opinions and this, that, and third. So that's the normal here. But I think that would be pretty cool if I did that. If I kind of pretty much invited my papa on the show via phone call, and do that. So yeah. I really hope you guys will like that. I think that would be a very cool experience. As far as everything, I believe kind of covered everything, right? We kind of covered everything. So as we're talking, I haven't made this podcast public yet, but I want to. I believe I'll put it on YouTube and then on Spotify. Guys, I'm just really happy to be doing this. Like, I'm just really happy. So since I'm here still, I can actually, let's talk about the present. Let's give you a preview of what the present is like as of now. So this weekend there is a PLE, Premium Live Event, for WWE, and it is called Crown Jewel, and they will be in Australia, Perth. And as of now, there are, I believe, 5 to 6 matches on the card, on the match card, that is. And y'all, it starts early. It starts really early. I'm like, when I found out the time, I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I should be able to. Because most likely I'll probably be pulling all-nighter for that one. I've done it before. Wrestling events, that show on WWE, the earliest I've ever woken up for a wrestling show or did a all-nighter was it was Elimination Chamber of last year, and they started at like maybe 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it was early. It was really early. We won't really be doing that again this weekend because due to the different time zones, Crown Jewel for me starts at 7 a.m. So, yeah, that's early. But I'll be pulling an all-nighter or I'll just have to set an alarm. But I feel like 10 times out of 10, I'm going to pull that all-nighter. Like Friday night will probably be the one time I risk my sleep this week. Like, for none. The one time I'll do that. Probably be tired after it's all said and done because Crown Jewel will probably be a good 2 to 3 hour show tops. And I kind of know these things because usually WWE PLEs, when you watch them for so long, because I watched them for the last few years when they were still in the Peacock era, the streaming service Peacock, they recently just got a deal not too long ago with ESPN. So now all the PLEs are on ESPN, which I was kind of skeptical about at first because it's like you got to pay an extra $30 a month. And it's like your first thought is like, no, not paying that. But I kind of did end up paying for it. So, well, I didn't, but so there's that. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to make sure I'm accurate with this because but yeah, Crown Jewel starts at 7 a.m. for me. For others, it may start at 8 a.m. 5 a.m. I know I have a friend. I think it starts for her because I believe she's Pacific Standard Time. So she's like 2-3 hours behind us, I want to say. So it'll probably start at like 5 a.m. for her, maybe. Um, yeah, okay. As of this weekend, there are 5 wrestling matches announced for the card, and I doubt that they'll add any more. And the structure of these PLEs is usually the same. They'll do a good maybe 2-3.5 hours tops. And like I said, I know this because when you watched PLEs for the last few years and you watched the clock at the same time, not as much, more so the show, but you kind of know the structure of these PLEs already. So I know for sure. It's like Crown Jewel will probably at least run 2-3.5 hours tops, I feel like. So, yeah, the current matches that they have announced are Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. That'll be an Australian street fight. I'm not quite sure what an Australian street fight is, but just know I expect some chaos. There's a Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors. That's a tag team match. They have Stephanie Vauquier. I don't ever know if I'm saying her name right. Stephanie Vauquier versus Tiffany Stratton. This is a champion versus champion match. Stephanie Vauquier currently has Stephanie Vauquier currently has the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, and Tiffany Stratton currently has the SmackDown WWE Women's Championship. So they'll pretty much be fighting for a championship and a ring. Well, pretty much a ring. There's this big belt. It's kind of pointless, but yeah. I don't know. Last year they did the same thing, and it was kind of pointless, and I don't feel it didn't mean anything because it's not like they could take the big belt because it's like this big belt. I mean, they couldn't take it home with them, but they did get like a Super Bowl sized ring. So it's like, okay, I guess it does mean something, but I mean, anyway, another match they have on the card is Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes is the current WWE champion. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins is the men's world heavyweight champion. That too will be a champion versus champion match. And last but not least, one of my favorite feuds, probably in wrestling ever. Well, maybe that's a stretch, or not. It's kind of one of the matches that I'm most excited for, and that being John Cena versus AJ Styles. And for those of you who may not know it yet, yeah, because I'm kind of sad. I'm sad. John Cena, if you don't know it already, is currently on his way out. It is October now, guys. He will be out on December 13th. And me, as well as other wrestling fans, are desperately dreading that day. You want to know why we're dreading that day? It's because it'll be December 13th. And that'll be the last time we ever see him. Because, see, he's been on this farewell tour since January. Because he announced his farewell. He announced his retirement back in Money in the Bank last year. So we were very much aware that he was going to be doing a retirement tour all this year. I would give my overall thoughts on it, but I feel like once the run is truly over, then I could give my insight on what his actual farewell tour was like, wrapped all up into one, rather than giving you what I'm giving you now when we still have 2 more months left. And he has limited appearances and things like that because he does movies, and things like that. So very much limited appearances. But yeah, December 13th is the day that it, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you want it to come right? But at the same time, you don't, because it'll be a bittersweet moment. And I get emotional talking about it because John Cena, yes, I'm about to be a number one glazer here. John Cena, for decades, for almost 20 plus years now, has done so much for the WWE in ways that no other person has been able to do. Now, I will say that about Roman Reigns, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Because the way he has shifted, like, whether that be the character transformation from who he was to who he is now, he's literally in the GOAT conversation, to me. Whether people want to, take that in or not. But he is definitely in that GOAT conversation, and no doubt a future Hall of Famer. Same goes for Cena. Cena has done so much for this company for so many years, for decades, 20 plus years. And like I said, he's changed the business in ways that no one else has been able to do, because he's been that guy, just the top guy for so many years. He was the guy. And I'm not going to say nobody could beat him, because they could, but he's one of those reasons as to why WWE has transformed into what it is today. Part of that reason. But yeah, December 13th will be the day that we are so desperately dreading, because he will be wrestling his final match. I hate that it's not in his hometown, because it was supposed to be. He is from Newbury, Massachusetts, but instead, financial reasons, I'm assuming, at least so what reports have been saying, he will be wrestling in Boston for his final match. And it will be on the PLE, Saturday Night Main Event. Saturday Night Main Event has been around since like the 80s, I want to say. Back when Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior, guys like that when they were around. So yeah, Saturday Night Main Event has been around for a hot minute. So that's not necessarily new in these wrestling parts. But December 13th, very much a dreading day, because after his last match, we can't see him. I have no idea who his final opponent is going to be. But I have a few in mind. I feel like I want to see him go with guys like Edge, maybe Roman. Maybe even a newer star. Wouldn't go as far as to say a rookie, but yeah. But going back to the Crown Jewel card, it's a fairly straight card this year, because last year's Crown Jewel, I believe they were in Saudi Arabia last year. That is the upcoming event that'll be this Saturday at 7 a.m. for me. Kickoff show will start at 5 a.m. and that's usually when they just do coverage of just the whole event and what matches, give predictions and things like that. So that's all that is. It's really shaping up to be a pretty, well, it's shaped up already, but it's a pretty decent card. 5 matches, pretty good. I was expecting another one, but as of last night, we didn't get a show of AJ Lee, so I'm pretty sad about that, because I thought she would have challenged Becky Lynch, the current Women's Intercontinental Champion. I thought they would have maybe had her come out and maybe confront Becky Lynch and challenge her for the Intercontinental title, but it didn't happen. So I guess it's safe to say that's not happening. I mean, I'm sure it will in the future, Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee, but maybe they're saving that. Same can go for Roman. I thought they were going to possibly run Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker For those of you guys who don't know Braun Breaker, that is Scott Steiner's. That is his nephew, I believe. His brother. That's his brother's son. And he's a beast. Braun, let me say this. Braun Breaker is a beast. If you see his spear, I mean, dare I say he has one of the best spears out right now, probably ever. Like, he has some of the most cleanest spears that he will break you in half. I don't know whether people have saw this now, but there was a viral clip back in probably February, because that's when Royal Rumble was. There was this clip of IShowSpeed getting speared. Y'all probably saw that, but it was viral. And when he can break you in half. And like, his spears are just, they're the cleanest out. They're the cleanest out. But yeah. But back to the Roman Reigns, and I thought they were gonna run Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker, but it's clear to me that they're saving that for a future PLE, maybe something like WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or SummerSlam or something like that. Big PLEs. At least those are the ones we consider big PLEs. I just think this card is way better than last year to me, because last year it wasn't as interesting. But this year, because I'm specifically excited about the AJ Styles versus John Cena match, and then there's because with John Cena and AJ Styles, there's so much history there. And they've had a great feud in the past that they ran back in maybe 2016. So good. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins is another match that I'm pretty excited for on this card. Because last night when I was watching the show, because Monday Night Raw, I was watching it. There was an element that was added to that story, in my opinion, that probably has made me the most interested in them ever since they even started this faction that they now have called The Vision. And they've been running that since April of this year. It's arguably the most interested I've ever been in this feud until now. Because with Seth's mindset, backstory. Cody Rhodes came back in 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022. It was at WrestleMania 38. I remember I was clamoring for him to come back. Because I thought it would be so exciting. And it was very exciting when he first came back, because he hadn't been in WWE in years and years at that point, ever since he had left to go off and do his own thing, start his own company, AEW, which is currently WWE's probably one of their most biggest rivals right now, besides what it used to be back in the day, which was WCW, ECW, but all those eventually kind of vanished or got bought out, I would say. But aside from that, back to Cody Rhodes. When he first came back, his first feud was Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins has not once been able to beat Cody Rhodes in the trilogy of matches that they have had. All three matches were very good, by the way. They mainly took place at PLEs. But still, very good matches. But in Seth's head, he has to be Cody Rhodes. He has to. He has to be Cody Rhodes. And understandably so. Because at this point, if I were Seth, I would most likely have that mindset too. Because if I haven't been able to beat you not once out of those trilogy of matches that we've had, yeah, it's low-key gonna become an obsession of you having to beat that person. Because you know you can do it. You just haven't done it yet. But in Seth's mind, it's just, it's become an obsession at this point because he keeps repeating things to himself like, I have to be Cody Rhodes. I have to be Cody Rhodes. And I honestly think he's gonna do it. I really do. I don't know if any shenanigans are going to come into play, because usually, I don't know, it just sounded so convincing last night because him and Paul had a backstage segment where it, like I said, it kind of made things more interesting and it added another element to me in the story, and it kind of gave me an idea that I feel like for future notes that somewhere down the line we are going to get a Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns match, and that could be a WrestleMania. Because if you know the story, if you don't, I'll have to explain that in another episode, future episode. But yeah, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, amazing feud. And Seth in his head is just so in his head about, just everything. And mind you, this was the same man who helped Cody Rhodes take down Roman Reigns' empire, because Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have history there themselves. Former Shield members. Until Seth turned his back on him. So I feel like there's a story brewing there, because we keep getting a mention of Roman Reigns, which definitely leads me to believe that we are so getting a Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns match somewhere down the line in the future between those two, possibly as soon as WrestleMania next year. Maybe even for the World Heavyweight Championship. But Seth is just so in his head, and rightfully so, and it's become an obsession at this point. He has to beat Cody Rhodes. And I agree. He has to. Because Cody has gotten one up on you so many times. There's no way. And I don't see Cody Rhodes winning, because he won last year against Gunther, who was World Heavyweight Championship at the time. I didn't think that match was that interesting. But compared to this year in their lineup of matches, that's it. It's a pretty decent card. It's watchable. But yeah, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins is another match that I am so excited for on this card, and it has invested me. Because I need to know now what happens, because I just need to know. So Saturday morning, that is, can't get here soon enough. But yeah, fairly decent Crown Jewel card. By the time the next episode drops, I feel like I'll be talking about that and what the results were and how they went out and what happened and what we're on the road to next, because not too long after Crown Jewel, we'll be well on our way to War Games. Which, War Games, y'all, I cannot wait until we get there. War Games is another one of those. It's not as important, because when it's important, but like with storylines, I feel like PLEs like the Royal Rumble, because WrestleMania, when you get to WrestleMania is like, it's kind of like the season premiere of something, and then after that, new stories just develop. Or you could say it's the finale of an episode and the start of a new series. That is after WrestleMania. And then after WrestleMania, we still have PLEs, but we're well on the way to SummerSlam. Another big PLE, very important PLE. But yeah, guys, War Games, I am absolutely pumped for. And you want to know why? Because I'm so interested to see the teams this year. Because literally the possible candidates, we can have John competing his first War Games match. I mean, if they choose to add him, because there's just been the Vision, which is Seth Rollins' group that they had with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, two guys I already mentioned. That's the vision. So, I feel like that'd be dope. Because if they added Cena into the whole, like I said, the vision vortex thing, I think it would be pretty cool. Because, I mean, the possible candidates are endless for this year's War Games. And for those of you who don't know what War Games is basically a match where there are 2 cages, 2 rings. And each person, there will be 5 to a team. Yeah, 5 to a team. And 4 people will be locked into a cage for each team. And 2 people will start off the match. Right? 1 from the opposing team and 1 from the other opposing team. They'll start off the match. Meanwhile, the other 4 will be in a cage, and there will be a countdown until the next person comes out from that cage, and then say it'll be like 2-on-1, and then when they count down again, the second person comes out of the other page. I'm sorry, not the other page, the cage. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. But the amount of candidates for this year's War Game is endless because you have guys like John Cena, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. You have so many people. So many people. The same can go for the opposing team because we already know Seth is going to have Seth, of course, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. Now, who the other 2 possible? I would go as far as to say maybe Drew McIntyre. He's a possible candidate for the heel team. And heel in wrestling is referred to as the bad guy. Babyface is the good guy. Keep a future note of that. So it'll basically be the heel team against the babyface team. And for the last 2 years, the babyface team has won. Maybe the heel team has won once. And the last time a heel team actually won was when the Bloodline was still together. And for those of you who don't know what the Bloodline basically consists of Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso. The Bloodline, Samoan heritage. So Solo Sikoa was included in that too. But that was the last heel team who won. And that was in like 2022. 2023, 2024, the babyface men teams have won. And now who knows? That could be different this year. I could definitely see a world where it's different this year. I feel like I can definitely see it. Aside from that, yeah, War Games is going to be interesting. The same can go because they do the same for the women as well. I don't know if it'll be as interesting this year because we have some candidates out. Bianca Belair, she's currently out with a broken finger still. Naomi, she was World Heavyweight Champion, but she had to relinquish it, aka give it up, because turns out she had a little bundle of joy. So excited for that. And she has wanted a child for so long with her husband, one half of the Usos, Jimmy Uso, for so long. And it's just like, it's bittersweet, because the second she was about to finally get the run of her career, because mind you, it took her 8 years to get a title again. A singles title at that. And it was just so happened to be the Women's World Heavyweight Champion. I'm glad, and the second she got it, I mean, it's bittersweet, yeah. But it's a beautiful thing. So, happy for her. Who else do we have? We have Liv Morgan. She's out. She's out due to I believe she broke her. It was something she broke her. It was somewhere in her arm. I want to say it was her elbow. But she landed on it wrong, and she's been out ever since. And that's been a while ago. Not too long ago. It's like months ago. Maybe back as far as soon as it was before Mania, that's for sure, I believe. Guys, we are so going to cover this year of wrestling. I believe it's going to be so much fun. And I'm just really looking forward to just be delving into this with you guys. Because then, like I said, there are going to be various topics about everything. So there are no specifics. So there it comes to no narrowing down or anything like that. Overall, I just hope this is a fun experience for everybody. And I'm just really glad that whoever's listening to this, that you're listening. Because, you know, for a person who has had a interest in this for so long, I mean, it only made sense for me to start a podcast on this. I mean, why not? It was literally my first initial thought when doing this. I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a wrestling podcast. Because it just makes sense. Why not? You know? As far as everything goes, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. It is probably going to be so long when it comes out. I don't know how long this is right now as I'm recording it. But I know I've just talked you guys' head off. And, like, I've talked a lot. I just hope that you guys are just able to tune in and, you know, get a glimpse of just everything. Witless, I explain it. Try to anyway, to the best of my ability. But this is my first podcast, probably as well as everyone else and my peers who are doing their podcast. I just think this is a great experience for all of us, you know? I think it's great. It's something new. It's probably something that's out of most people's element. It's definitely out of mine for sure. But you know, when I go into this experience with podcasting and when I'm podcasting and talking about something, covering various topics about something that I love, I don't know, it just gives me that confidence because, you know, I know what I'm talking about. At least I would feel like I do. Because trying to explain this and all, you know, to people who are not wrestling fans, it's not as easy. Because it's like, I don't want to force anyone to get into it. Because if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But it has been mine for many years now. Although we have me and WWE have had our ups and downs, despite sometimes the anger they make me feel. And you know what? That's what I think that makes WWE so unique in a sense, because the fans are so, I don't know. I just love the fans because I keep up with them via Twitter almost every day, whether the show was live or mainly when it's live and the community talks online. So I keep up with that, and that's what makes like watching PLEs for me more fun when watching wrestling, because I have a friend I watch it with on the phone too, so I'm on the phone and I'm keeping up with what people's responses are saying throughout the show. That makes it fun for me. And I've been doing it for a while now, just keeping up. Like, I'm a Twitter head, but I only mainly for it because I know reports come on Twitter sometimes, and I keep calling it Twitter. I know it's not Twitter anymore. It's called X, but I don't know. I'm just so stuck on the name Twitter that I don't even call it that. So, but that's another topic for another day. I just think the fans are just so unique. I feel like this may be a stretch, but I feel like WWE, as far as sports entertainment goes, or maybe just sports period, has the most unique fan base in like sports history. Because I don't see basketball fans or football fans go through half the things WWE fans go through. Because it's like, there'll be complaints, like big ones too. But it's done in a way that's just, I don't know. Sometimes you have to bully the booker, which is currently Triple H right now. And it's so, I wouldn't say I don't condone bullying, okay? I don't condone that at all. I don't condone that at all. I do not condone bullying. But it's just, it's so unique, and it's so entertaining sometimes that I just can't help to laugh. But thinking about it, but I just honestly think WWE probably has the most unique fan base out of all of sports and entertainment. Just period. That may be a stretch when I say that, but that's just how I feel, because from what I've seen and what I've saw, even though, like I said, I'm not a sports fan. Okay, wrestling, yes, but like basketball, football, not into it like that. Like maybe at all. Maybe I'll watch it a little, but I'm not like I don't understand it. So, like yeah, fans get angry, yeah, but I don't think they have to go through half the stuff we have to go through, because it's like, man, you get took on a roller coaster of rides here with this company, and it's just something, like I said, there will be things that will literally, as a wrestling fan, have you scratching your head and maybe look at your TV, maybe even throw your TV. I would hope not, but it's questionable sometimes. Booking decisions, like who should and should win this match, who deserves this win more, and oh, he didn't, it's a very unique fan base, to say the least, and I actually love the fact that I am a part of it. I'm not a part of the bullying and all that about, oh no, yeah, not a part of all that. But it is fun to watch. So I will say that. As far as that, I feel like and I've probably said this before previously in the start of this episode, I am one of those people, I just feel like will never veer away from wrestling. No matter how much older I get, because I'm 19 now. I've been watching wrestling since the age of 4 or 5. So that's been a long time. A long, long time. Now, don't get me wrong, there was a point somewhere in between now and there where it kind of got unwatchable for me. I mean, I still watched, but I don't know, it got kind of, my product got kind of stale. But now, so much has transitioned, with Triple H now being in charge, and the former chairman of the WWE, you may know him, Vince McMahon, but he recently had charges come up with him a few years ago, so he's been out ever since. That'll be another thing we delve into on here. I feel like we're going to talk about that, the transition, and how wrestling has just kind of, it has had its move ups, and it also has had, like I said, it's had its points where it's like, why did you do that? Why? So overall, guys, I'm just very glad to be doing this and be able to share this experience with all of you, and maybe be able to connect with all of you in so many ways, because I think that this will be a great experience for all of us. I'm still new to this, just like everyone else. I don't exactly have the fancy equipment and all this. I'm just doing the best I can with what I can work with. And I honestly think that I can just hope to get better, just progress, and just do this thing, and just do it to the best of my ability with what I know how to do, and what I've been taught to do, and what I've researched, and what I've looked into, observed, analyzed, whatever. But I just think that this is a great experience for me to be doing this, and the fact that I get to do it, talking about wrestling, it doesn't get any better than that. It does not get any better than that. So I honestly hope that you all enjoyed this episode. I surely did. I had a lot of fun with the intro too. I think I might need to play that song again. But overall, guys, I had fun talking to you guys, and I really hope that you join me on next 2 weeks episode. Yeah, next 2 weeks episode. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be right back here again. We should have crown jewel results and how everything played out. Maybe even more possible developing stories throughout the weeks. And yeah, because after that, like I said, after Crown Jewel, we will be well on our way to War Games, so we can discuss that. And I just love it. I just love it. Love it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, because if you don't know what to talk about, if you don't remember if anything else, if you don't know what to talk about, let's talk